Hello and welcome to the Social Recruiting Show. I'm Katrina Collier. I'm a social recruiting trainer and speaker. I'm, of course, joined by my gorgeous co-host, Audra Knight, who is sporting purple incredibly well today. Has to be said. Employer branding genius, nerd, or whatever I'm calling her this week, bassist and all-around great gal. I'm too excited today because somebody who's been hiding in the comments has come onto the main stage to join us. Michael Cox, you're going to introduce yourself because you have an alternative job title going around.
That's right. Yeah, most people refer to me as the recruiting manager. I am the head, shoulders, knees, but not toes of recruiting at Dahill, a Xerox company.
Not toes.
That's right. I haven't gotten to that level of success just yet.
Hashtag not toes. Welcome. Thank you for braving coming.
Yeah, feeling a little nervous to be outside of the peanut gallery, like the safety of the distance.
So I'm going to go high peanuts now. Where are they all?
Can you give us a little background as to how you got to Dahill and be a sales recruiter and also your own career leveling, right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. In college, I was actually preparing to go into law school. And every summer, every summer I would get a summer job where I was basically, I didn't know what it was. I was actually recruiting and staffing for these programs. And I did that for about 2 or 3 summers. It's been a long time. And that led to a job right after college. I figured, hey, I'll take that job. They hired me on permanently. I was there for 4 years and I enjoyed what I was doing and still thought, didn't really know it was recruiting. And then
you fell in it like we all do.
Yes, exactly. But I fell in it much earlier than most, like actually during college. So I did that for 4 years and then took a complete tangent into corporate sales, basically. I was working for a company you've probably heard of, Gartner, and I sold their stuff to IBM. I had one client worldwide, and I sold into various divisions of IBM. Did that for about 4 years, and then went into work my way basically back into recruiting and did recruiting on the agency side for about 4 or 5 years, and then wanted to try this corporate, kind of go to the dark side, if you will.
Sounds like the other side of the dark side.
Yeah, but it's so much more fun. Definitely more lively. So went into corporate recruiting as a sales recruiter. Kind of married the recruiting background and the sales background that I had. I could sniff out the BS pretty quickly.
Nice.
So I did recruiting for a very large organization for 1 year, and then jumped to Dahill. I've been here for about 5 years now. Now, career leveling, that's kind of the home of my rants and advice that just is always bubbling up when you see something happen over and over and over again. You're like, if you could just stop doing that, that would help you so much.
Yeah.
So,
and if you could just push back without getting really insulting emails back, that'd be nice too. But that's another whole conversation for another day. So one of the things we were talking about, though, because you're now in this position where you hire recruiters.
Yes.
And I keep getting asked about that. And I think that's one of the toughest things. Hiring salespeople and recruiters for them, and it's one of the toughest things I think you can do. So how do you go about doing that? And what do you look for? Okay. Give us the gossip. Give us the lowdown. The mic tips. Mic drop. Here we go. Boom.
There you go. So where I look, first of all, is usually network. Everybody's connected. If you're in recruiting, you're connected to 1,000 recruiters within 5 miles. So that's usually the first place I go. I'm limited by, let's say, budget on who I can hire. So typically I'm looking for an individual that is intelligent and intrinsically motivated, because you're not going to be externally motivated, let's say by financial goals. At least when you first start here. I'll ask questions about recent books that you've read. That has been very interesting because it demonstrates, first of all, that they're actually reading, and that's not.
So, what book are you reading, Mike?
Oh my gosh. All right. So right now I am rereading 4 Disciplines of Execution.
Oh,
and
I like that's an actual proper book with pages and all sorts.
Yeah,
what the hell?
Looks heavy.
The overwhelming majority of stuff that I read is actually through these things right here. So,
yeah.
But
I'm writing the one I'm reading. I swear to God, it's to do with everything, not just marriages. Right? Sorry.
No worries. So that helps to lead into conversation. So if it's a business book, if it's a recruiting book, it tells you that this person is focused on, they're going to continue learning beyond high school and some certain level of college or college graduate, which is where I've done most of my learning anyway. And then the recruiting process is just very, very long conversations. You can sit down in front of me for 5 minutes, and then we're going to get up and do a tour of the building and all of the floors that we've got, and go around the building. And usually it'll be a 1 hour to 2 hour conversation. Yeah. And then they'll come back and we'll do it again, and then we'll go to lunch. And
wow, like it's an all day thing.
It's a few different, yes, definitely. But it is a few different meetings. So it'll usually go about 3 or 4 meetings, each one lasting at least an hour, possibly 2. Because
sorry,
it's a pretty big investment for our group. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I take it that you and David Nicolo have spent time together.
It's mahogany.
Just imagining.
And I read them with my monocle.
Yeah, he's giving you such stick down the side here. It's brilliant. Lovely to have you here.
Imagine a pipe.
And hi, Izza, as well.
Sorry, David, I'm not able to read and focus at the same time.
No, it's all good. I want to know what the best book answer you've had, though. And actually the worst, the quirkiest, most unexpected.
Well, the flat out worst is when they say nothing, and it's one of the, it's not that they're telling me, it's a question that they have to answer during the application process. First of all, I try to drive down the application process to get you through that process in about 60 to 120 seconds. So it's really quick, but there are certain questions that have to be asked. They're mandatory. And then when they just leave it blank, or they can't leave it blank, they have to put something in. They'll just say NA. It's like, well, you're just not, you're not only not trying, you're not interested, or maybe thinking that nobody's going to read this.
And not very creative.
Yeah. Best answers have been like, they'll say, I recently read a book on, Rich Recruiter or things like that. And, but I'm going to test them on that because I've probably read some of these, and if not, I will brush up on them and then ask them about those books. So, yeah, it's a Snapchat filter. So
gotta love Jim's comments.
Right, yeah. So I'll also ask about people that they follow. I want to hire somebody that wants to continue to learn, wants to get better at this recruiting profession, and we'll ask them, well, who do you follow? Who are you inspired by in recruiting specifically? And that tends to narrow it down. When I'm talking to individuals who have a significant level of experience, if they have very little experience in recruiting, that's not going to be something I can hold against them.
Do you do the same thing with salespeople then? The book, or is that more for recruiters?
It depends. If I'm hiring for like a major account executive or somebody that's going to be calling on very large accounts, then and they've been in sales for a number of years, absolutely. I'm going to want to know what they know about sales and about their specific industry. So if they're selling in SaaS, or they're selling in IT managed services, or they are currently at a competitor, which happens quite a bit, then I will ask them about those things and find out if they're a student of their own trade.
Jim Stroud has an excellent question for you. Do you ask them to sell you your own pen?
God, no.
Please say.
No, I tend to stray from such questions, Jim. And by the way, Jim is one of those guys that I've been following since I started in staffing way back in the day. So
it's got a great show on YouTube.
Yeah.
I was, Jim will tell you, I had like one of those I've met my idol moments. And when Jim said, "Oh, yeah, I read your blog," I was like, "You like what?" And like, I couldn't, I was speechless. He'll tell you, it was at SourceCon a few years ago. And I was like,
I didn't expect you to read it. I would have spent more time on it.
I know, God. But actually, start writing some sense. But yeah, I was so honored, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So, but we also had, before we came on, another conversation about, which is a bit more into the recruitment process, but the biggest bugbear, which I think all recruiters have, both sides of the fence, is when the hiring managers want more friggin' CVs or resumes, as you guys call them.
Yeah.
Like, how do you handle that?
So that happens all the time. We've got that, and certain teams do it more than others. I've got one guy who runs a large billing department here internally, and we'll find him some great candidates, and we send a panel of 3 or 5, and it's always those numbers. It's either 3 or 5, and
they're all you've interviewed them all, and you've done all the
yes
hard work. Yeah,
exactly. the assessments and all that wonderful stuff. Send them in. They come in for an interview. It's all back to back. We try and try to manage the interview process to where they're asking the same questions and all that. And then he'll ask for more. And then he'll ask for more. So that was a major concern of mine also. But the recruiter that was working on that requisition for us kept complaining about it. So what we did is we took that recruiter, put him in that job for a certain number of days to not full time, but to really job shadow and understand what the job was. Then we said, okay,
that's awesome.
Joe, you're no longer going to interview. We're taking that away from you. You're not going to interview anymore. All you need to do is make sure that we know what you're looking for. And we have to do that every time we take a new requisition, because every time we add somebody new or somebody leaves, it changes the dynamics and the need of that team.
Yeah.
Once we have that and we know the job and we know exactly what we're looking for, we're just going to give you a name and a start date. That's all you're going to get. So the recruiter that
it's like rain coming out the window, just distracted me. Sorry, it's the weird, and then it'll be sunny again shortly. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
It just actually scared me. I nearly ended up over there.
So the recruiter was thrilled about this for all of about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
This is awesome. I'm finally going to be able to fill these requisitions. This is great. I said, that's awesome. Yeah, congratulations. Go fill those requisitions with the people that you know can do the job. But now, if that person fails, it's all on you. The immediate response from that recruiter was, okay, well, let me look at some more candidates. And suddenly they realized what a hiring manager is going through.
Yeah.
That trepidation, that concern, because as soon as we fill the requisition, we're off to the next one. And the hiring manager now has to invest time and energy and take away from his own work to train somebody up. So it was very interesting, and we do that often with various departments. One, to sometimes wrestle control away from the hiring manager, and two, to kind of retrain our recruiters on how it actually feels to make that final decision and be fully responsible for it.
When Jackie Clayton was on our show, she said she would find the right person. She would give it to the hiring manager and say, "That's it. I found you the person." And if they had a problem, she told them to piss off.
Yeah. So
do you think that would work for a lot of hiring managers? Actively recruiting anymore?
Possibly.
I say that as someone else who is also not actively recruiting anymore.
Yeah. That does help sometimes when you are having issues with a recruiting manager, a hiring manager that doesn't want to make a decision, or is getting really nitpicky, and that'll kind of jar the system a little bit, and they'll like, okay, snap to, let's get serious about this. But I understand the difficulty. Anybody that's hiring it, you'll understand the difficulty in making that final decision and it being completely on your shoulders.
Yes, a bad hire is the worst.
Yep, and then having to document and process, and then fire somebody with cause, and covering your ass through the entire process with documentation. It burns a lot of calories.
I thought it was quite easy to fire in the US.
Well, it depends on the company.
You just go, see you 2 weeks notice, ciao. It's not like that here.
Very easy to fire somebody. And here in Texas, a right to work state, we can do it because I don't like the shirt you're wearing, technically. But the backlash
of that, like psychedelic on the screen, to be fair. But I've got like bra straps hanging out, everything. I'm really scruffy today, so I'm so fine.
But that type of knee-jerk firing reactions can lead to or open you up to legal ramifications. And even if you end up settling and there's no money out of pocket in that settlement, you still had to pay your internal counsel. So,
and then I guess there's that other thing where, you're in San Antonio, aren't you? So it's not exactly huge population-wise. So everyone's talking to everyone, and they're talking on social media to everyone. So it's kind of crazy.
Very dangerous.
Yeah,
that's one of the.
And then
go ahead.
I'm just going to say also a lot of companies have unions, and then it's absolutely impossible.
Yeah, and see, that's where I think one of the benefits of that would be then your hiring managers or your managers have to document performance or lack thereof. And what happens in a right to work situation is that hiring managers don't do that enough. And then when somebody does something foolish and we say, there's a pattern here, but it's not documented, that becomes a real big issue. But that's on the back end of this whole recruiting stuff. Yeah,
because even if HR, like legally, you can, like you said, just get rid of someone. HR a lot of the times is not going to be cool with it.
Oh, and it's not that HR doesn't want to be cool and they're trying to control the situation. Yeah. It's that HR is trying to save the organization tens of thousands of dollars on the back end that we're now having to pay out to an individual that didn't work out. That hurts.
It's definitely complicated. Michael, I want to hear more about how, like, some people say recruiters are marketers. Some people say they're salespeople. And since you were a salesperson first, what do you think about, should a recruiter be a good salesperson?
There's a question.
Or do they not need to?
Yeah, thank you.
Go Audra.
Okay.
Go Audra.
I think there are stages of it, and you have to be able to play in each of those departments, if you will. The marketing is the only point for it to exist in my mind is it leads me to telephone conversations or face-to-face conversations, just conversations. So if I can get somebody attracted to us, then I can have that conversation and find out if there's an opportunity to move forward. That's the marketing piece of this. And part of that is job postings. Which are in the overwhelming majority of organizations, there are literally job descriptions. And the legal department, internal counsel, has had, I think, too much access to and too much control of that part of recruiting and many other parts, in that we have to state that we're EEOC. We have to say that we're a drug-free employment environment, or we have to say these things. And
do you?
No, you don't. Because back in the day, a job advertisement. So when I was about to graduate from university, the job ad was a 1-inch by 1/4-inch ad in the paper that said recruiter and fax number.
Yeah.
Sometimes you didn't even get the name of the company.
So, Mike, could you please explain to the younger callers what a fax is?
It's a telephone that makes lots of weird noises. If you hold it to the paper goes through the phone.
Oh
So
my God, I'm so glad I'm this generation that I know all that stuff. Oh
it's like we can remember. You can YouTube fax machine. You'll see what it says.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the job description is definitely. I'm sorry. The job advertisement is not supposed to be a job description. We can keep that on the back end, and if somebody for some strange reason asks for it, we can give it to somebody. But the ad is supposed to be a marketing piece to encourage people or spur interest. So
the hook. It's just to hook them in, get them on the phone or get them talking. Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing. When you have all the legal speak and the legal mumbo jumbo at the bottom that nobody reads anyway, it does say something about you.
Yeah.
It does say something about your organization, and it does show how buttoned up or how laid back, and both of those can be bad or good, either one of those. But
it's also when they don't step it through as well, then it becomes too ridiculously process driven. So you might hook them in on the short thing, and then they go to apply and they have to write War and Peace.
Yep.
Takes 6 hours.
War and Peace. I love it. It's like, oh, come on already. What do you want?
So,
resume and a phone number.
And applicants in that situation are going to read it. They'll read, I don't remember where I heard this, but they read job postings just like recruiters read resumes. They want to get to the meat. Should I apply? Do I like these things? Do I qualify? That's what they're looking at. If they're still interested, they'll read the stuff that you think is important about you, about your organization. So
it's like the terms and conditions on here, isn't it? You just go, yeah, and you haven't read anything. I mean, that's we all just want to get past it and onto the juicy bit.
Yeah, the problem with one of the problems with applicants is that they take too much advice in their job search from Wayne Gretzky. With you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Don't take.
Oh yes, God. Yes. This got a bone to pick. Yes, I am a bozo. Thank you.
Who said that?
Thank you, animal. So the fact is that if they do read it, you want to be unattractive to the people that aren't well suited for your job. You want to be attractive to the people that are. And part of that is demonstrating the fact that these are the things that you're going to have to do in this position. These are required. You can't get around this thing. And a lot of people don't like it. So share that on the front end so I don't have to talk to them. And I've had conversations with people that say, oh yeah, cold calling is dead. Oh, okay. Tell me what you do instead of that leads you to success. And so if we can have the right conversation earlier rather than later, that certainly helps to minimize the amount of time that we're spending on all of these stages of the recruiting process. So that's one part of the marketing. And then you've got the entire employment brand thing that is a lot of marketing. And we have a marketing department that's a couple doors down, so you might hear me. They like to take control of that stuff, and when I don't have time, I'll let them do it. That's fine, and that's pretty much always.
That's great. A lot of companies struggle to get marketing to buy in and work with them, so that's fantastic that they want to.
Well, they want to, but they still do it like they're trying to market to other companies versus individuals that we'd like to speak with. So.
Which is a bit of a shame, isn't it?
Now, as far as sales is concerned, you can't get to the sales part of the recruiting process until you've attracted or you've somehow made a connection. Yes. Got to have that conversation.
Without the phone. Or email, I guess, to start with the phone. Because, I mean, really, and then it's the persuasion for the whole way, isn't it? And then it's all about the recruiter selling the company and the role and the hiring manager and the everything.
Absolutely. I talk to the guys here that we sell a lot of copiers and software solutions, IT managed services, all that stuff. But, I tell them, so imagine you've got the new order and you're ready to sell this person. And all you need to do now is turn around to that copier and try and convince it to go to that company. And that's the extra step in recruiting. I don't go full out and say, that recruiting is sales, but there is a big part of it that I believe is sales.
But if you have to really sell them on it really hardcore, then doesn't that mean that they're potentially not the right person?
No, I think it's because sorry, Audra, I'm like completely jumping in, but, or Mike, I should say, sorry, but I think it's because it's actually really scary, and I think most of us forget that. So I've actually gone out to Twitter this morning, and I'm asking some of the other speakers at ERE Full, going like, what were you worried about when you just changed jobs, or what would it take? What would be your greatest fear to change jobs? And it comes down to, well, am I going out of the frying pan into the fire kind of thing? Is the culture going to be right? Because there's a fear. Like, what's the knock-on effect? What if I don't make the first 3 months and they let me go? Like, I'm answering for you, Mike, which is really rude.
No, and I agree with both of you. If you are overselling, it's because you weren't sold yet, I think. Mm-hmm. So I don't sell a job until I'm convinced, or at least at a high level, convinced that this candidate might be good for that job. Because Audra, if I talk to you about a position, we've got this entry level account executive position. I think it's going to be a great fit. Well, usually here, I know it's going to be an excellent career move for you, and I haven't even heard you out about where you at, where you've been, and where you want to go.
Or just like, thanks for the demotion.
Yeah. So if I pitch, if I pitch and sell a job, and turns out that person was a couple levels higher or a couple levels lower, it's going to be really difficult to get that back on the tracks and move it in the right direction. Mm-hmm. So first I have to say, okay, best use of our time right now. We've only got 15 minutes. Tell me about, we're going to learn about you first. And then I'm going to talk to you about some of the opportunities that are currently available.
Well, they mightn't be ready right there and then to move, right? So if you talk to them about what are you looking for next, then you might get somebody great who's just not quite ready to move, because and mightn't fit the job 100%, so therefore wouldn't talk to you, things like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I want to know about though is didn't you make it really difficult for one of your recruiters and ban them from making job postings or something?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So
I don't want to miss that one. I've got to get it in before I forget.
Yeah. So one of the problems. So if I'm hiring somebody that has a recruiting background on the outside, where you could post 10 jobs and get an applicant, you really have to go out and bring them in. Mm-hmm. Then I know that they're going to be able to function in an environment where they do have access to jobs that we have to shut down in 5 days because we've gotten hundreds of applications. And I don't want to spend all my days and nights reviewing resumes, because it allows for no time to go out and talk to the people that you might also be interested in talking to that haven't a clue that you're hiring. So what we'll do with individuals that are usually coming from other corporate environments is I will restrict them from posting. We have to post. We're a federal contractor, so I have to follow certain guidelines. And we've got an internal policy where I will have to post it for a minimum of 5 days. Once I'm at that 5 day period, I'll shut it down. And then say, okay, now you have to go out and find the candidates that we're looking for. So it's usually done on the front end, where I'm trying to teach them how to work with more outside tactics than inside recruiting tactics. Mm-hmm. So what I'll do is I'll say, you're not allowed to post these jobs. You're not allowed to depend only upon the applicants, because what that is doing is that is restricting our access to the talent that is in the market. We're just looking at the talent that is currently on the market. So those people that are looking, and you could have a market of talent for that position that is this big in San Antonio, Austin, Houston, wherever, but we're only looking at the 100 candidates that actually applied. And this is not to say that we're going to ignore applicants. We're certainly hopeful. The pray part of Toast and Pray is that somebody great will come along. But to rely upon, to depend upon that completely is very foolish. Now, some people don't agree. In my last round, when I was trying to hire a recruiter, I was told that I was doing things that were immoral and downright illegal by calling people at their places of employment to try and have a conversation with them about our opportunities. these are
Wow.
people that have lots of experience in recruiting at large and small organizations that feel, strongly enough to actually tell me in an interview that is absolutely a wrong way to do things. So
what is so wrong about calling somebody and saying, "Hi, would you be really interested
Well,
in
at
this
work,
exciting
it's a little
job?"
awkward. I wouldn't want to get a call at work.
Well, then give me your cell phone number.
So if I ring you up at work and I go, "Hi, Audra, it's Katrina from, the Searchologist. I have an amazing thing I'd like to talk to you about. I know you're sitting at your desk. I know you're in an open plan office. Would we be able to talk out of hours? What's the best number to reach you on?" If I have said who I am, what company I'm from, what it's about, all within split seconds, and hooked you on enough, you should give me your cell and talk to me out of hours. But you've got to offer the empathy that they're in an open plan office.
Yep.
But Mike, when you call, do you try and talk to them then, or do you say what she says and we'll talk to you tonight?
Or later, at a time that suits you, at lunch or whatever.
Yeah. Are you available right now? And
Yeah.
usually, so my previous recruiter who just abandoned me.
How could
Richard, I'm
anyone
not
do
sure.
that to you? Have
I'm
they
not
not
sure
seen
if
your
he's
feet?
on.
Sorry.
He and I
Had to get that in.
Yeah, no worries.
All the flip-flop shots of you. Last
What
week.
we would do, no flip flops today, and Jim, it's like no grab it, but got the boots, buddy.
Nice. Oh, those are cool.
That's
So-
some Jackson boots.
What we usually do, and this is just, we try it. If it doesn't work, we can laugh and make fun of each other, but we have to allow for failure in calling people. So what we'll do is we'll call and say, "Hey, Audra, I know I caught you at your desk, and I apologize for bothering you at work, but do you have a few minutes to speak today? Or can I call you during your lunch hour? Or is there a better time this evening that we could speak with you?" And for some reason, with a whispering when we're calling them, it seems to work a little bit better. So,
But it's all about, it's offering that, like the transparency of who you are and that understanding that they're at their desk. If you offer that, I've never had a problem. I haven't done it hands-on for a bit, but I've never had a problem with somebody getting abusive with me, which is really interesting what Recruiting Animals saying down here. So Mike Walford told us that the recruiters he spoke to in his job search weren't very clued in. Oops. Rich Rosen said he recruits sales reps and some of them get mad at him for cold calling him, so he just laughs them off.
That is odd.
You want to recruit them then, don't you? So what's Jim written here? Send an email with a tracker on. Call them after they open the email to see if they received your email. Yeah, right? And can we set up a 2-minute follow-up call?
yes. So
Yeah,
once I get somebody's contact information, I'm always trying to find that phone number. If I email, give me a phone number. But it's usually, once I have contact information, the process is going to be, because, much to my dismay, nobody answers their phone anymore. If it's a phone number that you don't recognize, these days it's probably a fake IRS call. And I've actually gotten calls, people asking me to stop calling them because they know it's a scam and I'm not from the IRS. Yeah. So somehow somebody's using people's real cell phone numbers to call other individuals. Anyhow, what I usually will do is send an email, usually a day or two before, say, I'm going to be contacting you directly at this time. And then I'll put on my calendar and I just call them. They are not going to answer 9 times out of 10. I'll leave them a voice message. And then my previous recruiter, Richard, he and I developed, mostly him, a 2-ding method where we would send him 2, and this is more so Richard, definitely. We would send him 2 text messages. Send a text message. Hey, this is so-and-so, want to spend some time on the phone with you. And then again, real quick, and then the second half of the message. Because 2 text messages in rapid succession, try to not look at that and see how quickly you break out in a rash. So after that, since we've already got a phone number, we'll call. They don't answer, we'll leave a voice message. Hey, I texted you. Hey, I called you. And then follow up with an email. And then at that point, leave it alone for, I would say, a week or so. But, I've never had people act negatively More often than not, what I get is objections like, I'm happy where I'm at, like immediately. Thank you for the offer. It's like, dude, I didn't offer you anything. I just want to have a call. Thanks for the offer, but I'm not interested. Not interested in what? We haven't even spoken. So you have to be very comfortable with and it's not overcoming objections. You can certainly start at a scripted way to overcome an objection. But you have to get comfortable with just having conversation when somebody says, I'm happy where I'm at. Oh, great. Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. Still, I just wanted to spend some time.
So where are you planning to go next? Like what's next on the agenda? Like, we might be right for you right now, But I also think,
why are you so happy?
The other thing, going back to your marketing question, Audra, and you've heard me say this 1,000 times, is that you need to look like a recruiter worth talking to as well. Rather than let's call marketing it personal brand where recruiters don't understand what you're talking about. Let's just call it look like someone worth talking to. Because I do think, so I get this message from Michael Cox, is at this company, I am going to look you up.
Yep.
And I'm going to do that before I ring you back. And I think so many recruiters miss that bit. And also the incident that happened with that girl being so incredibly rude, because I pushed back on someone's, I don't know if you saw it in Flight Spam. Someone sent me a spam email that had 2 lies in it, and I called her out on it. And she wrote back going, we work with hundreds of recruitment agencies. Yeah, good luck with your business. Dang. And my instant thing is, and I talk to thousands of recruiters on a global stage all the time, and I could slag your company off, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not immature. But she did not look at my LinkedIn profile or read my website, which is where she sent the message from. And it's like, wow, all you had to do was run a search on my name to know who I was or read my website. She wouldn't have done that. Like, it's like, you got to know who you're talking to. Yep. But flip side, you guys are, and I looked at her before I replied to see what level she was, what she was doing, and all of that. And you just kind of like, wow, people overlook that.
I think they
have to review.
They spend too much. It's crazy busy. So I think, unfortunately, the overwhelming majority of the activity that some of those folks are doing is mind numbing and done just kind of like a knee-jerk reaction. Now, her response maybe is one of those things that she should have been too busy to send out, but
it came from emotion.
Yeah, there you go.
It really did.
Yep.
I mean, it was, for me, who's a lot older, reading it, I just went, oh yeah, she's completely reacted to what I wrote, because I was very blunt. I went, you just lied to me twice.
Yep.
I'm canceling this call you put in my diary.
Yep.
It's like, because you just, you don't start anything like that. But it was more that Google people, look at people, see who they are. And the flip side is that's happening to you. Yep. So what's going on down the side here? It's
Richard Baird, my former recruiter here, left me to get married. He moved across the country. He's now a headhunter with MRI, is what Animal is saying. Yes, he broke up.
I was cheeky and wrote broken bromance, But there's someone's videos and you can't see him. I wish there was a preview came up. That would be so cool. That's why people need to tune in live. The side chat's so cool.
Yeah.
Mike, when you're training your new people or whoever's going to replace Richard, do you put a big focus on them having a great personal brand, or is that's so time consuming it's better to just get on the phone?
Yeah, I would like to, a recruiter or that does have a great personal brand is going to be priced well out of my market. So typically, no, but that's something that needs to start when they arrive.
Don't you think even just having the awareness of not having all their drunken photos over Facebook and a nice, vaguely professional photo, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to show flip-flops next to the pool for an entire freaking week and I'm so over your feet. That's fine, but the other stuff, some sort of awareness.
I agree.
That we're in a Google world. I don't know.
My only defense to the feet by the pool, I was still sober at that time.
Can I just say, I'm going to pay everybody back. I'm just waiting for you to all get past your summer photos and you wait. I have the biggest trip of my life booked later in the year. I cannot wait to get you all back. No, bring it on.
So you were saying once they get in, then you do like them to spend time on personal branding? Or again, is that a waste of time and you'd rather they just be calling people?
Not a waste of time. It's certainly important. I've got a new recruiter that just started a few weeks ago. We haven't gotten to that stage yet. So she has corporate recruiting experience as a sales recruiter, and we haven't gotten to that yet. But eventually, she'll, handle like Instagram and things like that.
But even just filling out your LinkedIn profile, having something a bit quirky that's, gives them something to talk about, having a few recommendations.
Yes.
It doesn't, I know what Audra's talking about, like with the blogging and all that kind of stuff, but not everyone has time for that. But just from making sure that your profile's filled out.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of LinkedIn, but my profile's right at the top of Google search results. So let's make sure that there's my photo, there's some recommendations.
Yeah. First of all, I don't think anybody reads recommendations these days, but it to have them is good, or have some. And then we are going to work on LinkedIn and all social profiles so as to ensure that when somebody checks her out because she reached out to somebody, it has to be in order. Yeah. So most of the folks that I speak to are already at that point when I come across them.
Apparently you like to sing.
Yeah, let's have it.
No.
What are we singing?
No, I think he's lying.
Why is it I think show tunes? I've just suddenly thought that's bad. Why have I come up with that cliche? See, the sun's back out now. It's still pouring with rain, but the sun's out. God.
If you were going to sing, what would it be? Rock and roll?
Probably not going to sing. I would sing for you in Spanish. You wouldn't know what I'm saying.
Oh my God. Thank you, Jim. Jim's come in before I went in. No one reads recommendations. I don't believe that, by the way. I absolutely don't believe that. Do people read movie reviews before they go to the movies? Am I the only one? Yeah. So I actually do think that they get read. I mean, I've got lots of like embedded tweets on my website and things like that. I think they do like social proof. Yeah. Maybe there's a healthy skepticism around your colleague gave you one and you gave your colleague one back. I get that.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think they're read very much. But if somebody's going to be investing in something that you're selling, they might certainly want to hear what others are saying, especially if those others are similar to me.
So like Amy Miller's got some brilliant ones from some people she's brought in, and they're from technical people that she's brought in. So that's appealing to the technical people. And they go, does she know what she's talking about? Yes,
you're right. Yeah. Those would make more sense. Definitely.
Do you ever read recommendations if you're wanted to recruit someone? Do you get that far down into their LinkedIn that you would look at them?
No, not really, because I'm very focused on just a few things. When I take that order, and I used to do this when I was on the outside as well, people would ask about, my hiring managers would say, okay, well, they need to have this, and they need to have that, and they need to have 3 years experience. And I would roll that back and say, okay, I write all this stuff down. And say, okay, so you mentioned 3 years experience. Why is that important? And what do they need to accomplish in this role to be considered a success that relies upon 3 years experience? Okay, so they have to do this. That's what they have to do for you to say that was a great placement. So if I find you somebody that has done that and wants to do that again and can do that very well, then you'd be interested in moving forward with that candidate. That's more important than the 3 years experience, right? Okay, so rather than read the recommendations, I will focus more on what they've done and how well they've done it. It's difficult, but to see these numbers, but in sales, it's all about numbers. So I want to, in my previous employer, I used to say at the end of our initial 15 to 30-minute conversation, just a first conversation, I would say, so it sounds like you're interested in moving forward. I definitely am. Before we can, I'm going to need you to send your last 3 W-2s. And that's a requirement that gets built into the business case that I have to build to move forward in this process. Is that going to be a problem? And it happened. I remember once where the guy said, no, forget it. Not going to happen. So we didn't move forward. And I'm okay with that. But in that role, it was a requirement because in that sales position, if they were at, say, 400,000 or above, we knew that they had the relationships that would lead to the results that we were looking for.
Yeah.
So it's a measurement tool. That's the kind of stuff that I focus on more than recommendations.
You also were talking about getting better job descriptions with do's rather than haves.
Yeah, that intake meeting, because again, I can get you somebody that has these things and they will still fail because they haven't done these things. So if we can talk more about do's versus must do's versus must haves, I think we'll get to a better panel of candidates, not only faster, but that panel of candidates will be more properly vetted.
So you put that right in the job description? Like, how do you word it differently?
In the job description or the job advertisement?
Advertisement.
Not really. That job advertisement, I still have that fight internally all the time. You could probably visit our website and find a lot of legal mumbo jumbo. But every now and again, I'll put something in like we interrupt this boring job posting to bring you the facts and what you're actually going to be doing. You know, if you have this experience, just scroll on down. We'll talk. If you don't. So
Recruiting Animals asking for a little bit more clarification around what do you mean by must do versus a must have?
All right. So the must do would be more about the actual activities that they're going to be engaged in on a regular basis, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, that's going to lead to success in that role. The must-haves are they have to have 3 years experience in that type of a role. And it could be a role where they're at Dell and it's more account management and account maintenance, what I call sales babysitting, versus actually going out and generating new accounts, which is what our hiring managers and our president are more focused on. So,
have you seen Workshape.io, Hung Lee's tool for recruiting developers?
I have not.
Don't do it now while you're in the middle of the show. God, typical recruiter.
Shiny objects.
Bloody sources. You can never keep it on the spot, right? They're wrong. But it's exactly what you're talking about. But for developers. So instead of saying I need 3 years of Java, it's like you're going to come in. This is the shape of the job. This is what you're going to do. There's this much architecture, this much this, blah, blah, blah. But it's the future. It's not you need to have this experience. And then they'll be saying, this is what I want to do in my next role. And then the shapes match.
Yep. So
it's really cool.
Yeah, currently hiring for
you may look afterwards.
I've already got it pulled up and I won't look at it now. But that reminds me, I'm currently hiring for a software engineer, software developer. And they're asking for all of these things and letters and thingamabobs and doohickeys. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, what are they going to be doing with that? Yeah, well, they have to have the C# development and they have to be able to, 5 years experience in that. They can't be junior. Okay. Well, what if I find a junior rep that's doing exactly what you want him to do or her to do, and you don't want to look at it because you're looking at the years versus the accomplishments. And unfortunately, too many resumes have duties and responsibilities and not accomplishments. When
you look at how few developers there are as well, compared to how many jobs there are, you're absolutely doing the right thing pushing back. Yeah, and also the other thing that they'll do is they'll go, I want a top 10% developer, and they'll bring them in on a top 30% kind of work. And it's like, well.
Yep. Or they're wanting to pay up to $90,000 for somebody that can do the software development and also speak to our clients, understand their needs face to face, and then be able to come back, translate that into the actual software application, and then monitor that and develop the relationship.
So they're cutting out the business analyst who sits in the middle.
It's ridiculous.
Kind of person.
Yeah.
No.
I can find that, but not at that price tag.
They do exist, but you're right.
That's some good questions here.
Oh my gosh.
Mike, do you use online assessments at all?
Yes,
before you.
and sometimes they help and sometimes they hurt, and we always have to do our best to demonstrate that, okay, this assessment, whether it's really good or really bad, should have only a certain amount of weight in your decision. And one thing that I did is I started having a really top-notch candidate that somebody wanted to hire. I had them do an assessment and then immediately do the exact same assessment 5 minutes later. Like, you're going to have to bear with me, but do this. It's going to take you about 30 minutes. And then do it again. It's going to take you another 30 minutes. And then I presented both of those, and they were completely different results.
What? That's not a good test then.
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen.
Well, yeah, it shouldn't happen, right? And I'll do that. I did that with our presidents, and I did that with some of our VPs, regional VPs of sales, and it's from Chally Group Worldwide. I'm okay with them defending themselves. But,
we never name drop on this show.
So and it's very reputable, but the thing is that something changes in that 5 minutes. Something that is not being measured is happening. Either they're annoyed by this test the second time they take it, or were they annoyed the first time they took it and they're just clicking through, or what's happening that the same person gives me different results. And I've done this with, oh my gosh, with profiles, and I can't remember the others, but
plenty of others.
Yeah, so I've done this with about 4 different providers. And the same thing seems to happen every time. Try it with whoever you've got. Run somebody through once, immediately after run them through again, or wait a day and see if you're getting the exact same thing. I don't think.
I would love to play with it. Anyone can send me a link to theirs. I will happily do that twice. Because I won't game it at all. Because I've got. I'm not trying to do a job.
I can send you ours.
Yeah, just literally, do that, and I will just do it really bluntly.
Although we have sales ones or developer ones, which one would make sense? Maybe neither. Developer would work.
Sales one, obviously. I'm a people person. Michael's going to
go. Anna was got one for you.
I love that one. I can't remember what it was called that they did at SRSC, and it was like a 2-minute thing with pictures, and it was so spot on for me. It was scary.
Pymetrics?
I can't remember. You did pictures, and then he was gobsmacked. It said what it said because he didn't believe it, and I was like, no, that actually is me.
And sometimes these things are spot on. This same assessment demonstrated that I was in the 3rd percentile for attention to detail, and I was thinking, I'm 97% better than everybody else, and it turns out I'm 97% of the population is better with attention to detail than I am.
That's me too.
And it's absolutely true. My wife is like, "Oh yeah, that's you."
But I think the world's making us that way. Everyone talks war for talent. I'm like, fight for attention, which is all the stuff we've been talking about. How are we getting someone's attention? Double text messages, whispering on the phone, blah, blah, blah. We're all using techniques to get someone's attention. That's so, social media has a big part to play in that technology.
Well,
our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, and the detail will just go with it.
And it's not only technology. I will walk into my kitchen and wonder why I'm there. So no cell phone.
Oh my God, yes.
So it can't be just that. But if, here's the thing. If it's something that a candidate scored poorly on, that we can manage. So what I do is I create a list for, can't find one right now. I probably lost it. I create a list for everything that I do.
Yep.
And there is a specific process that is documented. And if I forget one of those things, I can't move forward. So I manage that weakness. So if we can't manage that weakness, then yeah, maybe that's not going to be a person that we're supposed to bring on. But that speaks more to us as an organization ready to hire that person or not.
I think we are just all different, aren't we?
Yes.
It always changes. Have we missed any questions down there? It's like going mental.
There's been lots.
As we run out of time.
Do you have all of the clients' developers do the same assessment? Yes, right?
Client, what do you mean?
Yours, like all the developers in the recruitment process.
Yeah, do they do the same one? And if so, You can say that your candidate scored in line or above or average of other clients.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Jim, he's in-house, not out-house. So hence the client word's showing you.
I am not in the outhouse.
It's in the in-house. Yeah, I've got to stop doing that. It's going to get me in trouble. I love out-house recruiters. I do. I love all recruiters equally. But it's, how embarrassing. I've got to stop doing that. I was talking to somebody a couple of days ago, and they were calling us recruiters and they're normal people. And I was in stitches. I was laughing so hard. And it's true, right?
Yes.
We think different. We do think differently to normal people. Outhouse recruiters take a lot of shit. You're dead right, Jim. So, yeah. Oh, my God, you guys, you mad. So is there anything that we missed that you wanted to put in your open mic rant? Is there a final mic drop?
All right. So one that I get a lot of stuff about. And
only have 5 minutes, though.
Okay.
So
real quick. The term illegal questions annoys me to no end. I know that there are no questions that we should avoid, but to call them illegal, I work with, I do a leadership development program here at Dahill.
Yeah.
And we have attorneys come in to cover employment law and things like that. I'm always having conversations with these guys throughout the year, and I'll ask them, so what about questions? And every attorney I've ever spoken to says, well, there's no such thing as illegal questions. You can ask anything you want. The danger is using that information in your hiring decision. So I can appreciate the fact that we're going to tell people, do not ask these questions, but don't call them illegal. That's just the only part that annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways, we've just come so far in such a short period of time as well. Like, if you actually look at my mother's lifetime, when she got engaged at 21, she had to leave working in the bank. So just let that sink in for a moment, right? And sometimes we just forget how far we've come. And so, you're right. Like, these questions are best avoided. Like, you don't go, are you going to go off and have babies because you're female and you're in your 30s or whatever? So I get it. But it's like, we have come a long way in such a short period of time. But that it can be really tough. So, but I think we should definitely not to be saying illegal.
Avoid those questions as much as possible. But sometimes, when you're having conversations face to face, you realize, oh, this is a dude, or this is a woman, or I can see these things, but you just should not be factoring these things into your decisions. And that's where the danger is.
Jim is very upset that nobody's asked him if he was pregnant. There's so many comments to that in so little time. It's not fair. Oh, so we're out. We're done. Oh my God, that went so fast. You'll have to come back again.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't feel like
that was great. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, but I think
you can ask a lady. She's not. Oh my God, you guys. There's a whole show.
If it's a man, I will ask, and because we're in Texas, I'll ask if they're carrying.
Wow. But you've got open carry, no? So you'd be able to see it. Yeah. Oh, God, it's terrifying.
Oh, that's a whole other issue.
I'll be there in a couple of weeks. I'm in Dallas in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, bring a gun.
Not. Anyway, we've got to go. We have got another Michael next week, Michael Bachman. And he's coming to talk about employee referrals. I'm quite excited about that because I think social media and employee referrals go hand in hand. So it'll be good. You'll like it as well, Audra. It's marketing.
Yeah, I need some help with that.
Everyone does. Nobody does it right as well. Right. We've got some cool guests coming up. So I just need to pull my finger out and let the world know that, including you, Animal. I'm sorry you didn't know that Michael was coming on today.
I am too. I missed the last call. I was on for a little bit. My apologies, Mr. Animal.
For not letting you know. There's always the replay though. Anyway, thank you. That was amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
Well, really appreciate it. So, and thank you everyone who's been on the side channel chit-chatting like, oh God, Jim, he's just written a candidate with a gun.
And everyone check out is careerleveling.com. Although you need to catch up on the blogging. I see only a few this year.
Yeah, no.
I understand though. I don't.
Someday.
Yeah, I keep getting listed as a great blog, and I haven't written a blog in 6 months, so it's really worrying. So I'm with you.
Step it up.
I'm with you. Let's all step it up. Let's write a blog by next week. That's our challenge.
All right. It'll be really short. Bye-bye.
Really short.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.